Though the championship has been decided, viewers should by no means expect boring races. With nothing on the line other than pride and the enticement of wins, drivers are now free to take risks that they might never attempt when the bigger picture is in the back of their minds. But if there ever was a place that punishes those who overstep their bounds, it's Montreal. We'll see who flirts with disaster as we get ready to watch round 11 of the Lotus 49 World Cup, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Pekin. With me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is no stranger to F1 races. Tell us about the circuit.
Joe, in the spirit of the Olympics, we are here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, located in Montreal, Quebec, on the man-made Isle of Notre Dame on the St. Lawrence River. This area was originally used as a long rowing and canoeing basin for the 1976 Summer Olympics. That racetrack was put on the island in 1978, and the circuit hosted the Canadian Grand Prix 37 times since it opened, with the first race won by Canada's own, the late Gilles Villeneuve. Now, this place is something between a street circuit and a natural road course, but the 13 turns scattered over this 4.5 kilometer, 2.7 mile circuit creates a blend of high-speed curves and tight chicanes together with a long straightaway preceded by a very tight hairpin. And that's what this course is really about, the two hairpins at each end, getting the power down and finding the speed back onto the long straights. But, there isn't any elevation change to speak of, but don't take that to mean this will be a boring race, because there's plenty of chances to overtake here. The best way, though, to really get an idea what this place is like is to jump on board the GSRC Lotus 49 and take a lap around Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Alright, we're in the GSRC Lotus 49, so let's do a lap around Montreal. With the Senna S, you really have to swing the car in from the opposite side to line up the braking better. You'll see that a lot on this lap. There's a few lines you can take through this chicane hairpin combo, but I prefer an aggressive entry and then squaring off the exit. Applying the power will be tricky on this uphill curve. Then, brake early as you come into turn 3. Be careful with the wall on the exit because it'll be incredibly easy to clip it if the tail snaps loose while getting to the gas. 5 is flat out in pretty much all modern race cars, but in the 49 you need a big lift through here. Make sure and pull the car back to the right and stomp the brakes for 6. Once again, the lack of downforce on this older car makes accelerating painstakingly hard. Feather it as you come onto the backstretch and then get yourself ready for the braking into 8. The long braking distances of this car means you're on the binders way before you come to the bridge. Try not to climb over these white sausage curbs too much because they'll make the car bounce around and cost you valuable time you could use to get on the throttle. Now, as we head up the casino hairpin, even though this is still a good place to pass, you're once again swinging the car across the track to line up your braking. Your exit will also be very different in this car and sort of counterintuitive. I try to hug the inside even as I come off the corner because there's a little rise here. If the wheel isn't perfectly straight, it'll come out from under you. I've never experienced that in any other car in iRacing, and just goes to show the incredible power inside this beast of a machine. As we fly along the fastest straight of the circuit, hold to the left and spot your brake marker. The Wall of Champions poses the same threat it always does, and I found it's best to run tight on the first apex in order to open up the second one. From there, you simply accelerate to the line, and hopefully you've now finished a lap around Montreal. That should give you an idea of just how tight it can be in certain places with the walls on either side at this track. Now, once again, we have with us Johan Vandenbelt to help us down in the pits, but he's also got the updates on the Drivers' Championship. This may be sealed up at the top, but it sounds like there's exciting stuff going on elsewhere, Johan.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. You mentioned it before that the title has already been decided. Mick Claridge grabbing the Lotus 49 Championship this season. He returns, however. He's back on track, I see. So he'll be really defending and enjoying that victory that he already has accomplished in the championship. But behind him, it's really close. You have Michel Dudouignon overtaking with his victory last week at Over-Trangerate. They'll be battling it out for P2 in the championship at the moment. Only 3 points behind him, so it's basically who finishes in front of the other person will end up P2 after this race. Enzo Canta was closing in on them, but I don't see him, however, today. So his 4th place, 31 points behind Mick Claridge at the moment. Yeah, I don't think he will keep that if he doesn't show up, especially if Billy Bob Wright drives like he did last week. He got a really good 3rd place position at Circuit of the Americas, and if he shows the same skill again this week, well, he really can give Enzo Canta a run for his money.
There's also the Constructors' Championship. Sean's been paying attention to that all season. How is that settled into now with only 2 rounds to go, Sean?
Well, it's the UK sitting there up top on the back of Mick Claridge there. The US only 3 points behind. This championship is not settled by any stretch of the imagination here. The U.S. looking for big points here today on the North American continent. Now, still a really good battle back there between 3rd and 4th, France and Finland. France still really with a great chance to get on the podium in the Constructors' Cup. Norway, it's going to be a bit of a stretch for them. Ove-Trangerede's at best going to need a couple of wins and some help from his opponents to get there into the top 3. So there you go in the Constructors' Championship.
Qualifying is underway. Most drivers have at least 1 lap in. Dudouignon currently tops the timing sheets. We're waiting for Mick Claridge to get a timed lap, and it looks like he got an off on the last one as it did not count. It's a little bit under pressure for our champion of the Season 1 2018 Lotus 49 World Cup. As he comes through turn 8 and then through 9. Then weaving his way up to what you'd think would be a relatively straightforward braking zone. But even in this one, Sean, you're curving as you slow down into it.
Yeah, you really are. You're not able to hit that in a straight line, and it does make that braking down with the hairpin a little tricky. Not too bad, but it really, like I said in the opening, it's all about getting the power down out of the hairpins, getting the car back up to speed just as quick as possible. Dudouignon's lap is going to be really tough to topple. It's a 132.2. Ove just put it up there in second with a 132.4.
Mick Claridge is coming to the line now. Let's see what he's got as he hits the timing line. Ooh, only good enough for second. Just barely ekes by Trangarade, but he's still 2/10 down on Dudignon. And speaking of the lap times, actually, what are we looking at in weather terms out there today? Let's take a peek at that.
It's warm, Joe.
Indeed it is. 102 on the track, 76-degree air temperature. So beautiful summery day. I guess a bit different from the winter in Canada up in Montreal right now. But with the sun out, it has really heated up the tarmac as we watch Benjamin Zocco now. Westerwald, new guy out there, apparently has not raced yet in the championship, at least. Maybe he's done some races in the 49 off the broadcast, but as far as scoring points, hasn't put a race in yet. So this DH driver is new blood.
Yeah, and I don't know, Joe, that he's going to get a timed lap in, actually. Yeah, and that slide off the course there is definitely going to shoot him down. We've only got a minute and a half left here, so he won't even have enough time to get a lap in for qualifying.
And that'll actually be everyone, as Trangarade has finished up his 2 laps, so he's just out there warming up, and Zocco is stopped out on track. So our grid of 13 has been solidified. Let's go through it. Michel Dudignon on the pole, looking like he might be able to extend that gap over Trangarade. Mick Claridge is going to do his best to take some more wins. He was on a tear earlier in the season before real-world obligations pulled him away for a few races. Ove Trangarade has got some work to do, starting from 3rd. Philip Spencer, great qualifying from him to get himself up into 4th. And then row 3 has Billy Bob Wright in 5th. Benjamin Zocco will start in the 6th position, followed by Richard Morin in the 7th. And Raymond Smith, Sean, starts in 8th.
All right, and then we got Hideki Koibitsu starting 9th today. Randy Huff going to start right there with him in row 5. Michael Thomas will be in row 6 with Thomas Westerwald. And Don, tell me something good, didn't bother to take a qualifying time today. And, well, for that, he's going to start from the back of the field in 13th.
And sounds like Johan had eyes on Michael Thomas's lap. But what happened that cost him a lap time?
Yeah, Michael Thomas was a little bit disappointed, it seems like, after his qualifying effort. He obviously didn't set a time and starts at the back of the grid, but he said that, well, if he didn't make a 0x contact with the wall at one point, he would have been P2. So that guy is very quick, if to believe him. So yeah, look for Michael Thomas battling his way to the front during the race.
And we've seen that before from Michael Thomas, so I'm eager to watch and see how he battles his way through. As Sean said, multiple places to pass, but it is tricky to pass here, especially in these cars with the difficult braking zones all throughout the course as the cars begin to grid up. See if they can make it through this turn 1, Sean, that's nefarious for lap 1 incidents.
Boy, it really is. It's a tough complex of turns, Joe. I don't have to tell you that. We've all raced here one time or another, but Virage Senna is just left, back to the right, very, very slow speed, easy place to get jammed up with another car. At the track pretty narrow down there. And boy, I'll tell you what, if you've got anybody coming out of the pits, it gets even scarier, but hopefully we won't have to deal with that too much today. But yeah, the first trip down through there on this standing start, going to be an adventure. That is a smaller field today, so hopefully that'll sort things out quickly as they get down there.
End of the season, championship decided, so a bit of a lighter field. Maybe some drivers have elected to just take a week off. They don't get drop weeks in this championship, but of course, going for 12 weeks straight, sometimes guys just do need a break out there. With this being mostly a hobby for these guys. In fact, all of them are hobbyists. I don't think anybody out there is sponsored doing this professionally. As we wait for the last of the cars to grid up here for round 11 of the Lotus 49 World Cup. Just this one and one more round to go in the first season of 2018. The clock ticks down. And that should be it as we now get the engines revving. Lights are up. green flag is out. Michel Dudignon with a great start, fending off Mick Claridge. Not as good of a start for Ove Trangrade, already under challenge. Oh, as we get a battle for the lead between Claridge and Dudignon. Dudignon has the outside of the second corner, and that's going to give the lead to Mick Claridge off the start. Fantastic from the Brit. Trangrade holds on to third. Philip Spencer fourth, and Billy Bob slips into fifth.
Yeah, Mick really got a nice break through the turn there. And already, Joe, they've gone line to stern, front to back.
Brilliant use of hanging on around the outside of the first corner to get the apex of the second one. So can Mick hold on to this? He was slower in qualifying by about 2/10. What does that mean about race pace as they come up to turn 8? One of the potential places to make an overtake. Everybody single file though. Oh, no, we got a battle back here between Koivisto and Thomas.
It's Michael Thomas already picking up 3 spots as he screamed on past Koivisto. Back there in the chicane, he's already picking up ground on Ray Smith. Heading into the hairpin here, he's going to go wide around the outside.
And Trangrade's got the bit between his teeth. He was taking a peek on Dudignon coming through the hairpin, but now as they stream their way on the along the rowing lake towards the Wall of Champions, they're rolling up the car. They have to brake very early in these machines. Does everybody make it through nice and safe here? Easy to overshoot this corner, not just worried about the wall on the exit there. Looks like everybody's through fine.
Thomas picking up another spot across the line up to 8th. He gets around Ray Smith.
He is really on a charge.
He's hanging it out there.
Apparently we've got a replay of the start from Mick Claridge view, as we're going to pull that up and see what this onboard looks like. Just over his shoulder. Already, he's so far along, we can't even see Dudignon by this point. As we look out the gearbox, fully passed before they even get past the exit. What amazes me, Sean, is just somehow... Oh, and Mick Claridge goes off. He goes off at turn 8. He's going to have to slow up for a cut course. This is costing him dearly. Already, I see him down to 6th position, it looks like.
Yep, that's a drop all the way to 6, Joe. Yeah, he got in hot.
He was going defensive. He was under threat from Dudignon offline. Maybe just wasn't used to the grip available. Ooh, yeah, that car just could not roll up in time.
That's what that sand trap's there for. He utilized that safety zone and was able to save the car and save the race, but he's got a lot of work to do now.
And what does this mean for the top? Well, Dudignon and Ove Trangrade are now left alone with a nice gap back to Philip Spencer to battle it out for the lead. Remember, these are the two that are fighting for that second place in the championship. Sounds like we've got a nice little battle between Smith and Koivisto as well for 9th, just outside of the points. It's Koivisto in the yellow and black, Smith in the red.
Yeah, Smith already given up a couple of spots, doesn't want to give up any more. This should be a good battle as Koivisto will definitely fight him to the end. Koivisto getting a run at him now.
Takes a little bit of a look down into 8, but just not close enough. He's going to get another go up to the casino hairpin. Let's see what he can do down into here. And once again, a little bit of a defensive move from Smith, though, into the corner regardless. Meanwhile, farther up the field, we've got a battle for 4th place. Billy Bob Wright being hounded by Zoko and Claridge. Claridge a lot closer to Zoko, though, as they break for the final chicane. Remember, Claridge made that mistake not long ago, and he's trying to regain ground. Zoko going to stay defensive down into the Senna S. He does not. Holds his line, but no attempts from Claridge.
Oh,
Ooh,
Claridge almost into the gearbox there of Zoko.
this is very unlike Mick. He almost seems a little bit rattled now. Down through 4.
Ove just takes the lead. Looks like he took advantage of a bit of a mistake there.
In an unusual spot to make a pass through turn 5. Let's see what happens exactly.
I think he might have got hit with a cut course, possibly Dugnan.
No, I think he was just trying to collect the car. It looks like he was a little loose coming out of 4, and he got wheels off into the grass. I think it looks like Johan got a little bit better view of things. Johan, what did you see?
Yeah, I think Sean was spot on there. He slowed down tremendously after the chicane, so I might think that he cut a little bit on the inside and had a cut course penalty, because right after the overtake of Ove, Philip Spencer got really close to him in the left-hander. And yeah, right when after that corner, Michel immediately picked up the pace, and it seems like he's trying to get Ove back for P1.
Well, this has brought things back to Mick Claridge. He did get around Zoko just now. And Claridge back on the attack. Billy Bob just up the road here. 3/10 of a second.
And not just Billy Bob being involved in things, but look at Philip Spencer as well. So it is very tight for 3rd. And as Johan mentioned, they're not too far down the road from the Frenchman Michel Dudagnan after his mistake. Well, this is a boon for Ove Trangarade, as he is going to close the championship down to 1 point, as this battle for 4th between Claridge and Billy Bob Wright still very tight.
Yes, indeed. Intense battle here. Only 5 laps into this race. Claridge makes an early mistake and now has to play the part of the fighter. Oh, Billy Bob with a bad wiggle there out of the turn. He was able to correct it, though, Joe.
Yeah, there was a good attempt from Claridge down into 8. Unfortunately, did not go. Billy Bob now really feeling the pressure as he holds to the inside, down to the hairpin. And from what we've seen from Billy Bob, he is going to fight tooth and nail for these final 15 laps to try and hold on to this 4th spot. Feels a little bit safer this time, coming up to the final chicane. Spencer sliding it in there, but he holds it well. A little bit closer, down into turn 1 for Mick Claridge. And once again, we see the Floridian try to hold the inside line. And he's getting incredibly close to the back of Spencer now. Eyes need to be all over the head of Billy Bob Wright.
Billy Bob just trying to keep the car on track and deal with the traffic around him. It's a pressure situation indeed. Billy Bob looked to the inside and then thought second about it.
This is a great performance from Spencer so far. I'm used to him being a little bit more of a mid-packer, but today he is showing he could snag a podium. Here comes Billy Bob Wright looking to try and deny him that opportunity, down into 8, but he can't quite get on the binders late enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, these boys better get busy. Ove starting to drive away just a bit.
Billy Bob's got his nose in, and Spencer gets denied as he loses out on the 3rd place. Let's see if Mick Claridge can demote him one more. He's got a good run. He's closing in. He's in the slipstream now. No defensive move from Philip Spencer. Way beyond him. Mick Claridge slips up the inside, down into the final chicane. Textbook move.
Really was, Joe. Boy, he made it look smooth too. He got through the wall of champions there. Very, very smooth.
Next on is this, big slide from Billy Bob Wright down into turn 1. He holds it somehow. Claridge gains some ground. Billy Bob looking a little bit erratic out there today. Sounds like We've got fastest lap from the man on the move, Michael Thomas. Before that, it was Michel Dudignon holding it. Oh my goodness, we're missing out on another attempt from Mick Claridge on Billy Bob Wright. Down the back stretch this time, can't defend as he had a nose in. And so Billy Bob has to finally give up that podium.
Well, Mick back to a podium spot there. Let's get the replay of it here, Joe.
Look to the inside. Billy Bob knew it, didn't want to chop him off, left him that little bit of room. Nicely done. Two positions in one lap for Mick Claridge. Meanwhile, first place, well, that is not over. Despite the problems that Michel had in turn 4, well, he has run down Ove Trangrade. So the Norwegian looking over his shoulder once again.
Yeah, you know what, Dudignon, it's always about pace, and rarely do we see a mistake out of him, so we probably got the one mistake he's going to make out of the way. Let's see here. It really just might be a matter of how long will it take to get there and make the pass, but we'll see here. Ove seems to have just tremendous pace here so far, Joe, and the car looks good right now. He seems to have dialed in this circuit and was ready to go from the drop of the green flag.
Well, this series doesn't have scheduled pit stops, so Johan's been enjoying his pancakes down in the pits there with his maple syrup, but you finally got some action going on, it sounds like.
Yeah, I had to put away the pancakes for a second because Thomas Westerwald came in, the driver who makes his debut today. It seems like his day is over, however. His car is quite damaged. He lost the car going out of the hairpin onto the main straight, put the power down, car went sideways instead of straight, and it seems like Thomas's day is over.
He's one of the dangers of the Lotus 49. No downforce to speak of and immense power. So it's easy to get it sideways when you put your right foot down. Meanwhile, watching Philip Spencer here, still in this fight, trying to get some spots back from Billy Bob Wright. He's too far back as they complete this lap. Oh, ahead of them, though. Wow, Mick Claridge. Yeah. Sean, did you see that?
He basically went through the Wall of Champions sideways there, Joe.
Let's look at this replay from on board. I always love to watch the hands when drivers start to lose it. Let's see what the UK&I driver does. Just dips his wheel into the grass. Wow. How did... My goodness.
I'd like to see his eyes, actually.
I mean, other than him having to correct it, it looked like a normal line. He just kind of drove it right through and act like nothing happened. Oh, that time something absolutely did happen. Into the Armco for Mick Claridge. He hit that hard enough. I think that might be day done.
Joe, he's still pedaling here, but you got to wonder if the left front on that is turning the way it should be right now. He's working the wheel a little bit to see what he's got left. Here it is on the replay. Whoa. He just crushes that Armco barrier.
You know, he likes a loose car typically. I wonder if he just overheated the tires and it asked too much of him. First place, Michel Dudignon still challenging on Ove Trangrade. Coming up to a good opportunity. He might be a little bit too far back here. Blue and white is the Frenchman. White and red in the Japanese colors is the Scandinavian. Running that Honda scheme. Yep, definitely not close enough to have a go. Wow, really clattering over the curbs, and that hurt Michel Dudignon. Just getting a little too greedy, I think, there, Sean.
Yeah, a little bit, and just you got to guard against overdriving here. It's easy to do. The circuit will suck you in, and it'll eat you up if you let it. Dudignon's got to be careful. I'm back here still watching Claridge. Joe, I think the damage was minimal. He's probably fighting the wheel just a bit, but he's still tracking on Billy Bob here.
And sorry, Michel Dudignon had another cut course as he slows down in the same place. You talked about the overdriving, Sean. He's pushing a little too hard, it looks like.
Yeah, and he's got 10 laps left. I honestly probably doesn't need to push this hard. He just needs to keep pace.
Wait for an opportunity. Oh, yeah. Second apex, absolutely.
Like
Yeah,
I
just
said,
wait
not the
for
first time.
something to happen with Ove, I would think.
You know what?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe. I was just going to say, we still got a great battle from third back to sixth, though, man. Those spots are still very much in question, and Mick Claridge, of course, is in the middle of that now.
Somehow retaining fourth place behind him. Philip Spencer has the Australian Benjamin Zoko trying to challenge on him. We do have good news. The Lotus 49 World Cup, Benjamin Zoko being taken over from Jack Ulstead to help organize this series. Oh, do we have a cut course?
Yes, we did.
That was Mick Claridge slowing down, coming out of the final chicane.
Man.
Gonna watch from the helicopter here.
Just gonna cut it.
Second apex. Really, ooh, you know, he hit that so hard, he could damage the underside of that. That's a tall curb. Well, that sends him back to sixth now. But as I was saying before, as that promotes Benjamin Zoko up to fifth, he's taking over and helping organize the community for these broadcasts. And they have renewed for next season, Sean. So we're going to be back.
Awesome. Just love starting these days off with the Lotus 49. Fun group and a very talented group of drivers is what I should have started by saying. They're a lot of fun, but they are extremely talented. And we love bringing you these races every Saturday.
We're halfway through the race. Let's give you the running order, starting with our leader, Ove Trangarade. He's now back up to about 3.5 seconds over the Frenchman after Michel had another cut course, and he's got to redo that effort all over again. He sits in P2. Billy Bob Wright, another podium on the cards for the Floridian, as he's been running consistently, if not having a few mistakes along the way, so he does have to watch out. Philip Spencer. Oh, and Philip Spencer loses the spot as Benjamin Zoko now slips into fourth. A cut course for Spencer coming out of the final chicane. John?
He is going to get caught there at the Wall of Champions. Everybody having a little bit of trouble here, struggling with this.
And for him, it looks like it was the first apex this time. Pulls over, lets everyone through. All right, Zoko, as we said, in fourth. But how long is he going to hold it? Because Mick Claridge, despite a damaged car, is trying to come back at him. He is in P5. Sean, what's the last half of top 10 look like?
All right, and it's Philip Spencer who just dropped back there after that slowdown penalty. And it's Michael Thomas still trying to get here into the top 5. He sits in 7. Oh, battle for fourth.
Claridge got a good run coming off a 7, down into 8. Makes it look easy. Gosh, he clattered that Armco so hard. I don't know how he's driving this fast.
Determination at this point. wanting to recover.
Mist.
You know, yeah, exactly.
All right, go ahead, Sean.
All right, we left off at Michael Thomas, who's in 7th, and he's reeling in Philip Spencer a little bit at a time here, so we'll see. Richard Morin back in 8th. Raymond Smith there in 9th, and Hideki Koivitso in 10th. Hideki having a bit of a rough ride today. Doesn't seem to have the pace here as Gilles Villeneuve.
And then the only two still running are Don Good and Randy Huff. Incredibly, all the cars are on the lead lap that are still running. Thomas Vestervald, still our only driver to DNF today. So 12 of the 13 are out there with 8 laps to go. Right now, we're watching Benjamin Zoko and Mick Claridge. Zoko having recently lost P4.
Well, I'll tell you what, with the way things have gone for Mick here, Ben just needs to be patient and just hang with him here, and he may be able to get that spot away from him.
That, unfortunately, was our closest fight before Mick Claridge overtook him, but that doesn't mean this race is over, because Michel Dudagnon, bit by bit, is reeling Trangarade back in. But Sean, it seems like today Michel's his own worst enemy.
Yeah, which is really weird, because I already said it once. Not used to seeing mistakes out of Michel Dudagnon, so maybe there's something here in the air. in Montreal. I'm not sure, Joe.
Ove was challenging him last round before he blew an engine, and you're right. We're used to Ove being the one making more mistakes and giving away good opportunities, because Ove's fast, but he doesn't always take good advantage of the chances that he has for wins. Today, he's grabbing it with both hands, that number 5.
He really is, and he's still turning some of the fastest laps in the field every time around. So Ove does seem to have command of this race right now. And honestly, to his competitors, they're running out of time here, Joe. This race is not. Oh, Dugnan. He's
hanging it out.
Got a dirt cart it through there, yeah.
My goodness, this track certainly requires everything of the drivers. If you want to be fast, you got to get close to those walls.
Imagine those tires are talking to him right about now, too.
What do you think they're saying, though, Sean?
Help me, help me.
So watch McClarridge try to see if he can get back to the podium again. And let's see, last lap, 132.4. What was Billy Bob Wright doing? 132.8. 4/10 faster than Billy Bob. He could yet do it. Through the hairpin they go. And then on to the back straight along the rowing lake. Actually, Michael Thomas, remember, we were watching his progress. He kind of stalled out for a little bit, but he's getting a chance once again. He's closed up to Philip Spencer. Spencer, maybe a little bit disappointed having started 4th today. Is already down to 6 and could lose out to 7th here.
I think, boy, if Thomas didn't get a slowdown there, he got awful lucky. It certainly looked like he got that second apex off there, Joe.
And Thomas put in another fastest lap, continuing to make it tumble. You know, what Johan said about him saying, I would have been P2, that's looking accurate here with him putting in all these fastest laps, Sean.
Joe, it does make you wonder what could have been had Thomas been able to get one of those qualifying laps in there. He has shown amazing pace and the ability to pull off some passes here. It looks like he's got one, maybe 2 more in front of him, but I go back to the time. It's running out here with only 5 left to go.
Indeed, as they've got Benjamin Zoko up ahead of them, that's going to be another chance for Thomas to maybe grab one more and come down to the hairpin. He's not close enough this time to attack, but another chance to try and gain more ground as they get on the brakes and then get to the power, accelerating down the longest flat-out stretch of the course.
I think we're starting to see the effects of some of the damage on Mick Claridge's car. He just doesn't seem to have the grunt to catch Billy Bob right now. That's killing him, Joe.
He's down within 1 second, and Michelle responds to Michael Thomas with another fastest lap. Man, those two, it's like a boxing match, blow after blow over that fastest lap.
Well, Dugnan, the first one to go to a 31, that was a 131.9, Joe.
Whew.
Yeah, flying, absolutely flying around here.
And that means that Michelle gained half a second on Ove Trangarade that time. It's down to 2 seconds. I don't know if he has enough time.
All it takes is one little bobble by Ove, and Michelle's going to be there. A good time for him to get things straightened away. You just have some consistency over here over these last 4.5 laps. He's got a shot.
Perhaps a battle of nerves down to the end, but let's check back in on the battle for 5th, because Zoko has been caught and Spencer has been caught, or actually has he? Did Thomas make a mistake in turn 8? I looked away for 1 second. Now he's dropped back. Well, it sounds like he did make one. Got a little bit loose in that last corner. That cost him. Well, that frees up Philip Spencer now. All over the gearbox of Benjamin Zoko coming down to the final corner.
Boy, he's sure looking at him here. Right in his tracks.
Oh!
Ooh.
Mistake from the Australian, has to cut the course. That's 2 spots easily.
Did Ben,
maybe not.
Did
Thomas,
Ben outbreak himself there?
I think so. Now, what happened to Thomas? Thomas slowed up. I think Thomas got a cut course as well. 2 cars in 1 corner. Watch this from above. Car ahead is Zoko. That first red car is Spencer, and the second one was Thomas. So you can see Thomas slowing. We didn't quite get it from that angle, but it looked like the first apex for Thomas was just too tight. Wow. Those have been the killer today, just those cut course penalties.
They sure have.
I would have thought, as we look at the battle for 3rd place here, is Mick has finally caught up to Billy Bob. Billy Bob goes to the inside. He's not going to give this one up willingly.
So much for what I said about Mick's car not having the grunt anymore. Maybe he was trying to just cool those tires down a little bit, but he's back.
He heated him up once again. He got loose trying to get to the power coming out of the hairpin. You can see the time that it cost him. It's gone back up to about 3/10 between himself and Billy Bob. Both of them nice and smooth through that last chicane. Fastest lap for Dudignon once again, 1:31.7 now. Think he's got the fire lit under him?
I think so.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I'm not sure if this is Mick's driving style or the damage on his cars. Once again, he gets it sliding through turn 1 and somehow is still fast enough to stay right underneath the rear of Billy Bob Wright, still threatening him. Now 3 laps to go.
Man, I sure hope Billy Bob had a coffee. At least got one in him before this thing started.
We missed a pass as Thomas has managed to get past Zoko, continues his climb. But the battle for 3rd, not over yet.
Yeah, Billy, but you know what? Mick keeps putting it in there, keeps presenting the car, but it just not able to make a pass. It just hasn't developed for him yet. Oh, and there's a mistake from Billy Bob.
Yeah, a little bit wide at the hairpin, but just Mick not able to take advantage. He's very close now. These cars do get some slipstream. As small as they are, the rear of the car, not very aerodynamic. You can see the big hole that it punches as Mick finally gets a run up the inside. Can he woe it up in time? He does. They're both through. He gets the power down successfully, and Mick somehow finds 3rd place after multiple mistakes today. But what about this battle for the lead? 8/10 between Tranqueray and Dudignon.
Hey, Dudignon keeps turning these fast laps, but he still hasn't gotten around the leader. So,
that old racing adage, Sean, catching is one thing, passing is another. Honestly, since Michel had his mistake early in the race, we have not seen Ove relinquish this. We haven't really seen mistakes from Ove.
No, Ove's been rock solid today, Joe. He is doing exactly what he needs to do to collect a win here. Shouldn't be any trouble, but now there is Randy Huff in front of the leaders.
Oh, Michel had some sort of slowdown here. Was that in the hairpin or was it the corner before? Yeah, he wasn't too tight on the hairpin. Bizarre. Well, that is going to end it then, unless we see a huge mistake from Ove, because it's back up to 4.5 seconds. An unusual day for the Frenchman.
That was Randy Huff moving out of the way there for Ove as he got by, but things look good for Ove now. He's just got to hang on here over this last lap, Joe.
It sounds like I wasn't quite watching close enough. We were on board when we had the cut course for Michel. That was down into turn 8 that he got that You have to feel maybe a little bit of pity for Ove Trangarade if he gets this win today, Sean. If he could have had a result, if he could have had points at Coda and not blown his engine, this would have kept him in contention for that championship.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah, too much too late, but still, what a great drive today. Hey, hang your hat on a victory and use it as momentum heading in towards next season with only one round left to go next week.
And only half a lap to go here as we are on the final lap. Last time around the hairpin, that gap now up to 6.9 seconds. Michel must have had another mistake somewhere along the line as he continues to drop back. 7 seconds. He is dropping like a rock now. I wonder if maybe he's got some damage from something that we missed. No such incidents for Ove Trangarade. The Norwegian through the wall of champions. Even though he's not going to be a champion this season, he's going to be a winner today. The Norwegian takes the win at Montreal. Michel Dudignon gets a second place, probably a disappointing second place, and Mick Claridge recovers somehow to get himself into the podium.
Does Mick qualify for a Dory?
I think that might. Billy Bob Wright does get himself a fourth, a well-earned fourth. Philip Spencer, how about that? Gets back into fifth. And Michael Thomas, drive of the day for me, for a sixth place. Almost a tie between drive of the day between Thomas and Trangarade, I have to say.
Yeah, well, Thomas did a really, really good job after, having bad luck there in qualifying. And that's how you want to recover, man. Pick up all those spots. And, boy, just missed the top 5. But a great effort indeed. Everybody having a little bit of party right now down in Senna there. That's where the meetup. That's where the meetup's going on, Joe.
Oh, Ove Trangarade comments. Bet there was some colorful French language during that race. I imagine so. And Michelle says you wouldn't imagine so. We're gonna go to break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. But stick around because on screen you're gonna see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Montreal. We just watched round 11 in the Lotus 49 World Cup. Ove Trangere gets redemption after blowing his engine at Coda and coming back with a win here in Canada. Michel Dudignan, uncharacteristic for both him and Mick Claridge. They get second and third place respectively, each of them getting multiple cut courses. And in the case of Mick Claridge, actually clattered the wall and damaged his car. Billy Bob Wright gets himself into fourth, just off the podium. And then fifth goes to Philip Spencer, who I think has been improving lately. Then sixth goes to the recovering Michael Thomas. Sean?
All right, Joe. And then we're going to seventh. It's going to be Ben Zoko with a seventh place finish today. Richard Morin, eighth. Raymond Smith, ninth. Hideki Koivitso going to finish 10th here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And then we go back to 11th. It's going to be Don. Tell me something good. 12th, going to go to Randy Huff, and Tom Westerwald found trouble and made the comment that he didn't think he was going to do this one again. So hope that's not the case. Come on back and visit us some other time, Thomas.
Yeah, it's doesn't matter what skill level you are in the Lotus 49s. They love having drivers in. More participation is more fun. Wasn't as much fun for our champion this season, Mick Claridge, and I know you're already champion for the season, Mick, but today probably had to be a little bit disappointing for you.
Oh, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, hi, Joe. Yeah, no, it was all right. It was good to be back, to be honest with you. I've had so much time away from the car. I literally got in and met Michelle in practice about 45 minutes before, well, no, a bit further than that, and then I had to go out. So I had literally about half an hour's practice, and so it showed really, didn't it? I wasn't on pace with the front two there, nowhere near.
Yeah, we're 2/10 off in qualifying, and we wondered what that would mean race-wise. Now, how much damage was on the car when you hit the Armco out of turn 5? Was there any damage?
No, I never had any damage at all. I just I thought I did when I actually hit the wall, but no, I sort of checked it down the next straight and just see if it's sort of, I don't know, I just got in the habit of checking to see if it sort of steers equal left and right. And sometimes when you do that, you can spin it, when you're checking to see if the car's damaged or not. But I just sort of got in the habit of doing that, and it felt all right. And no, it wasn't too bad. And then it sort of takes you a good sort of couple of laps to get back into the rhythm, doesn't it? I didn't get into a rhythm until I was chasing down Billy Bob there at the end.
Well, Mick, Sean here. Hey, I first want to congratulate you on the championship. Second, I want to welcome you back. It's great to have you back on track. Third, though, you just talked about it there at the end. The tires, you had to let those recover for a lap or two. It's really easy to get them angry here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks a lot for the welcome back, Sean. Nice to talk to you again, mate. But yeah, it is. Yeah, you can overheat the tires here, and I don't know about anyone else, but with my setups, to be honest with you, I don't even know what setup I used. I think I've used a Watkins Glen setup and just even the cambers out. But I always get a lot of understeer. It's never the rears that overheat here. It's always the front. So you just find yourself pushing into the wall. You have to really hold back. But yeah, it is a problem. You do have to take a bit of a rest when they get warm up like that.
Well, it was still a podium, and you got one more round to try and snag another win and reassert your dominance. But thanks for talking to us, and congrats on taking over 2018 Season 1.
Cheers, Joe. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when you said that last race that I won it. I was hoping for Michelle to crash out because I wasn't even sure of the championship, and I was looking at Uwe, and then when Uwe blew his engine, I just thought, oh right, okay. And then I heard that I was winning it, so yeah. I'll be ready next race. I'll put some practice in. We'll try and make it a good race for the last race. Make some good TV. See you guys.
All
Cheers.
Right. Hope to see you then. That was Mick Claridge, third place today. We also have Ben Zoko, who was 7th, and he is talking to Johan Vanderbilt.
Benjamin, good afternoon. It seemed like you had a great battle out there today with Michael, with Philip, with Billy Bob. Tell me, what was your point of view? How was it out there?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun trying to keep up with those guys. They were just a bit faster than me today, so I had to go as fast as I possibly could just to keep up. So I was never really in a position to really fight with them too much unless they made mistakes, which they did a little bit, which was good. Kept it interesting, and I finished the race covered in sweat So it was a lot of fun.
That's good to hear. At least, yeah, you put up an amazing defensive drive today. One of the things that was kind of the big talking point during the race were off tracks. We saw a lot of drivers with cut course penalties. How difficult is it in these Lotus 49s on Montreal to not cut the course?
Yeah, when you're pushing the limits like that, it happens really easy. I mean, I was feeling like I was avoiding the cut tracks really well. But as soon as I thought, okay, people have made some mistakes ahead of me, I've gotten by them now, I need to hold them off, I need to go that little bit faster. Every time I did that and tried to break that little bit later or whatever, that's when I would get the cut tracks. So it's kind of like, I guess you just have to controlled aggression there. I found that later on in the race, same with previous races during the week, the last few laps I started to lose pace, and I tried everything to see if it was like set up or whatever to fix it, but I seem to have the same problem towards the end of the race, losing a bit of pace. But I think the main reason people are cutting the track a lot is because they're just pushing too hard and trying to find that extra tenth of a second, and that's what's causing the off tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, next week we'll visit Phillip Island for the last race of the season. How do you see your chances there? Is that a circuit that you like? It is a home race for you, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's a bit of a home race. I haven't been out to Phillip Island in real life before. I'd say Bathurst is more of a home track to me. It's much closer, and I've been there a couple of times. But I don't really like Phillip Island. But after last season in Lotus 49, I had good pace there, and I started to find the secrets to it, and therefore I like it more now than I used to. So I'm really looking forward to next week at Phillip Island. It's going to provide a good race.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Promising story. See you then.
Thanks, Johan.
And that was our 7th place finisher, Benjamin Zoko. But with that, we're going to close up today. And of course, we want to thank a few people before we go, both to Jack Wolstead and Ben Zoko for bringing the Lotus 49s back for this season. And of course, to Ben for bringing them back next season as well. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjad, Johan, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at /GlobalSimRacingChannel. As was mentioned, next race going down under to Phillip Island for the final round of the season. That'll be Saturday, March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Then we get into the next season of the iRacing 4 seasons of the year, and excited to see what comes with the build. Some cool new things are in the work from what we understand. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on this screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.